topics: Java basics, OOPS concepts. OOPS means object-oriented programming concepts, and that would include classes, objects, functions, and packages, and stuff like that. And constructors, static class members, final instances, and all the bunch of. And then we'll cover loops. Those are like for loops, while loop, do while loop, etc. And conditional statements. Those will include if, else, switch case, etc. And then inheritance, including overriding, and polymorphism, including overloading. These are the OOPS, two of the OOPS concept: inheritance and polymorphism. And exception handling, that will include try catch finally, how to use them, etc. And then string manipulations and examples. Everything will include examples, don't worry. Arrays and Java library classes, how to add them, how to add the implicit Java library classes and explicit, that means external third-party jars, and interfaces and abstract classes, concrete classes, inner classes, little bit about them. And JDBC, mainly I will include this in the automation because you need to automate the database testing also, so that will be mostly covered in the core Java session. So this core Java session is only for those who are willing to be automation test engineers, right? Not the Java developers. For the Java developers, there are a bunch of other topics too which I'm not covering, and of course advanced Java or J2E, Java to Enterprise Edition, that is also not covered because that's not required for an automation testing. So these are the like 50% of the core Java, which is sufficient for any automation testing to automate any web page or database or web services. So just to give you a brief intro about Java. So if you already know this from the history, 1990, Patrick Norton has invented or developed Java based on C++ language, which in turn was based on C language. So if anybody knows C and C++, it would be easier to learn core Java. So do anybody know already C or C++? So that means nobody knows, right? I'll take it as no. So no problem. We will start from the scratch. And initially it was called O language. So in 1991, and it was renamed to Java in 1995. So since then, it was known as Java language, and it became very popular because of its ready-made methods and classes, and you can just download a jar and make use of the methods, which was not possible back in C because everything you have to write almost close to the machine language. It's not machine language, but very close. So, and the logic, it was mostly logic based, and you need to be very proficient in the logic. And that was overcome in Java because everything is ready-made. All you need to know is what function to call. That's all. Still, you need to know the logic, and that's what we are going to cover, both logic and the usage, utilities. That's what we call utilities in the sense you just use them. You just need to know how to use them, and definitely you need to know how to use them in a logical way. So we are going to learn some examples too. Okay. What are the advantages of Java? The main advantages comparing to C and its predecessors, C and C++, the advantages of Java are, it's very simple. Like I said, you just need to know what to use, that's all. And it's very secure. That is the second most important thing, why the most projects prefer Java over other languages like .NET or others. So it's very robust and almost 99% hack proof. It's not 100%, but 99%. And it's object oriented. So that's the main concept. OOPS means object oriented programming structure. So everything is object oriented, right? And architecture neutral and portable. So that means you can use the code based on Java in any kind of architecture. It's independent of architecture, so there is no dependency. That's why it's architecture neutral and portable. So you can use it anywhere, including web or client-based applications, web-based applications, any other applications. And multi-threading is possible. So multi-threading means it will enable the user to do the multitasking thing, so that it will priority basis, it will run these threads accordingly. So, and you can also program, but we are not going to look into the multi-threading because that's not the developer, that's a developer thing. And compiled language. So obviously whenever you write a simple to complex Java code, first you need to compile, and it will create a .class file. So the .java file is what you're going to write, and when you compile it, it will convert that English language or almost English language programming language into a machine understandable language, the .class file, right? So compilation means .java file will be converted to .class file, and this will be machine language. If you open any .class file, it won't be mostly understood by the human, so that machine can understand. It will be converted into, again, zeros and ones, which is mainly a machine language, the binary system. And it is robust since it's very it can be used in across many systems. And OOPS language concepts are basic backbone of this core Java. So we are going to learn more of, we are going to concentrate on much of these OOPS, because those will be useful in our automation too. And those will include classes and objects, encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, and inheritance. So we will start the class and objects, and we will jump over these as and when we need them. Okay. So do not worry if we are not going by the order. So class and objects are definitely needed in the beginning, because that's how you create the classes. Without creating classes, you cannot. This is not the classes and objects. And objects in the sense, everything it's object related, and you need to create objects. Objects in real world, they occupy some space. And likewise in Java, also in JVM, they would occupy some space, virtual space, not the real space. And objects are required to access any class members. Class members would be either functions or variables. So you need to instantiate them. So instance means object. And encapsulation, that's basic concept of OOPS, because everything is encapsulated. So just like capsule, the medicine is inside the capsule, right? So the encapsulation will enable the developer or the coder to not let not others see his code, so that it will be more security. So you just need to know that it's working or not. So you don't need to know for the end user what's the code look like. So that will be encapsulated. And abstraction, mostly we don't use them, but I'll explain momentarily implicitly in the code. Polymorphism appearing in many forms. So I'll explain this going forward again. And inheritance, again, it's like inheriting the features of parent class, how to make use in child class without having to redefine them. So this will be useful in automation too, in the sense that we can create a base class and just use them as a parent class by extending it, so that we don't have to recreate them. Okay. So before moving, that's a history and introduction. And before we actually do the coding or programming, which we are going to do, we need to download some software and install them and configure them. Okay, so there are three things which we need to do prior hand. First and foremost, you need to make sure you have the right Java, which is the latest version of Java, which is 1.8 right now. So just download it. Okay, so all you need to go is just Google download Java and you will download it. Okay, it's as simple as that. So that's the site. So I'll just show you because I already have it. I don't need to re-download it. Okay, so you just download it. So if you already have one, then you can easily verify if you already have one just by opening the command prompt and Java hyphen hyphen version. So okay, so this is not showing it here, but because I'm not using as administrator, but once you download it, you will be able to see. Just open it with the administrator privileges and it will show it. Okay, so then next thing is JRE or JDK, and you can Google it or you can directly go to this. I guess this link would work too. Okay, so that link is working, and right now this is the latest JRE version, and all you have to do is just accept. Actually you can do while you are looking at my screen, so that's better. Okay, so if you're having 64-bit of version of Windows, then you can download this one. Not the tar.gz is for Linux or Unix. So exe is for the Windows. I don't know, for the Mac systems it's DMG file, so it's not. You can search for it. So this is for Windows 64 and Windows 32-bit. You can download this. Oh, Mac version right here. Yeah. So if you have any version of operating system, you can download appropriately, including the bit version 64 or 32-bit. Okay, so that's the main downloads required. And also you need to download Eclipse. So you can download any flavor, Mars or Kepler or Juno or anything. So you just go to and just type Eclipse download. Okay, so go to this and it will show a bunch of software. Okay, so basically you need Eclipse for the core Java, not advanced Java, so not J2EE. So let me show you. So just type Eclipse download for Java. Yeah, so that should be it. Yeah, so ID for Java developers, that should be it. 64 or 32-bit, you will download and install. Okay, and I have already installed it and configured its file. So it's a Eclipse Mars. If you want only Mars, you can type Eclipse Mars and it will, you will be able to download it. Okay, so then browsers, you already have the browsers, appropriate browser, Chrome or Firefox, so that should not be a problem. And in case you're having trouble in opening Eclipse, you can actually add this in INI file. So I'll show you. So once you install, okay, then you are not able to open Eclipse, let's say, then you can add this line anywhere or end of the file. There will be eclipse.ini file in the folder in which you have installed this Eclipse. Okay, so it's very easy to find. Just go to Eclipse and try to find it, and then open it with a notepad and just add this line, so that it should be okay. So this JDK version must be exactly similar, so change it, change your path also. It could be program files 86 or something based on your bit, 32-bit or 64. So just need to add this Java exe path wherever it is in your system as a -VM. Okay, so after that, we will go to simple program. First, I'll show you. Once you open, it will look like this. I mean, this is already created with some projects, so don't worry about them. First and foremost, you are going to create a project, right? File, new, So I'm directly jumping to programming because that way you will be easily understanding the programming, including its theory. So if we cover the theory, it will take a lot of time. So I'll go back and forth, theory and practical. Okay, so first and foremost, once you open Java Eclipse, so if you do not open Java Eclipse, all you have to do is just click on Java. So if you download other J2E software, so you can open this perspective by clicking on this, and here there will be other perspectives including J2E and others. If by mistake if you download those, there will be Java too, but it will not be defaulted because you downloaded the other defaulted for J2E or other. So just click on this. Java is the one you need as a perspective, and click OK, and it will highlight this here. That means you will be able to write Java programs. Okay, so then you have to open File, New, and Java project. There will be other projects too, so don't worry about them. Just open Java project. Okay, so you need to give some project name initially. So you can call it anything, and just make sure you have the Java SC 1.8. These are all older versions and which might not be working properly. So like I said, if you download the correct version, it will show this, and it will automatically set the environment to correct JRE, and this is a JRE, right? And the JRE you must have already downloaded using this. Okay, so this is where you will be downloading. Okay, once you create this, you give any name, project name. Let's call it Java class. Oh, okay, let's not use the class because some keywords are reserved. So let's not. Let's say Java. Already there is tutorial, so I want to show you how to create from the scratch. So let me create a new one. What do you want to call the project name? Anyone?
Java practice.
Okay, good. Java practice. Let's call this project name is Java practice. And if you see, the project folder structure will be here. See automation projects. You can set it anywhere. It's up to you. So all you have to do is setting the workspace properly, and then click on next for the first time. You can click on finish also, but first time I'll show you. So once you create this Java practice project in your workspace, it will automatically create one package. This is called a package or folder called source folder, SRC, and all the code will be sitting inside the source folder, right? Because it's a source code. Okay, and okay, don't worry about this git ignore because I am adding to GitHub. GitHub is a configuration management source tool. Like you can maintain the version controlling, and you can also share the project with others in your project. Like there may be 5 or 6 automation testers or code Java developers. If you are if you are actually working as SDET, then you will be sharing with them and taking their updates. So in that case, you have to use this Git or GitHub or SVN. So right now you don't worry about it. Locally, you're going to create a project, and then it will also create one more folder called bin. Okay, so don't worry about this because it's automatic. Source means source code, in which there will be Java files. Java files will be the files which you will be actually coding in. You're writing the code in whatever code it is, and like I said, when it compiles, it will create .class files corresponding to the each Java file, and those class files will be created in bin folder. Bin means binary because they're binary code. Ultimately, this is the source code, this is a binary code, because you don't need to worry about this. That's why these won't be visible in the package explorer. Okay, so let's finish it. Okay, so I have just created a new project, and this is the system library. Like I said, automatically it will be created based on the JRE you have downloaded, right? And this will have a bunch of jars. What are the jars? Jars means Java archive file. So Java archive files will have some methods and classes zipped in. It's like a zip file. Zip file for the Java is called jar file. So like I said, all you have to do is which which you need to use them so appropriately. So in order to use them properly, you need to know some techniques. Obviously, you need to call them, how to call those methods, and when to call them, and why you are calling them. All these things we are going to learn. Okay, so these are automatic, these are built-in classes methods, and we are going to create some user-defined methods and classes and variables too. That will be your main programming. Okay, just like this. But don't worry about this. This is about the application. This thing, Chrome. What is it? Selenium WebDriver automation. So I just opened it. So do not get alarmed. I'll just close this because we are going to look into that later. Okay. Starting from the scratch, right click on the source folder or right click on the project anywhere, and first of all you need to create a class. Okay, first we created a project, then in the project you can create a package too. Okay, so because everything you cannot put it in the same package, just like folder system in your Windows, you're going to modularize them, okay, organize them properly. Okay, so first we are going to create a package. Okay, so this package, like I said, will be created inside the source only. Java practice is the outside package, outside folder, and source is the inside folder. In the source I'm going to create, so it will be Java practice slash source slash whatever name you are going to. Okay, let's create tests folder. Okay, and it will appear exactly in the tree structure. So this means this test is inside the source and source is inside the Java practice. And since it's empty, the symbol is a little bit different, but once you put something in, it will be like this. So the folder has something. That's what the symbol means. Okay, so I'm going to create a, now you have to right click on the same package. What if you want to create something in it? If I right click on this, it will create something inside. Just make sure that now I have to create something, some class file inside the test. Now new and class. This is the important. Okay, don't worry about the interfaces, enums, annotations, JUnit, folder, all this. These are later, okay, for the automation. So all you need to do is just create a class inside the package. Okay, so just click on class, and initially we are going to create a simple class. Okay, no complications. Okay, so you want to name some simple class. Okay, what do you want to name? We are just going to welcome. Okay, so what do you want to call this? Any name. Let's call it welcome. Okay, okay, so if you see this pop-up or dialog, I'm creating a Java class. Okay, because classes are the backbone of the Java, and that's where you're going to put your coding with all your logic. So this welcome Java file will be created in the test package, which is already inside this package, right? So the package structure is exactly like we are maintaining. So it will be visible here. So whatever package you want to create, if you by mistake create class file in some other project, you will be able to move it. So don't worry. So all you have to make sure is you are able to see this, whatever you want to do here. Okay, so now whatever code I am writing in the welcome.java, okay, so that modifier is public. Okay, so I'll explain about this later. So for now, just remember that public means I will be able to access from anywhere. Okay, so private means only in the class I can, it's like private, and protected means with some conditions I can. Okay, and abstract, final, static, I'm leaving it for now because it will complicate this. And superclass always will be java.lang.object, and you can also change it, so don't worry about it right now. And no interfaces. And if I want to execute this, because I'm writing the code only to execute it, otherwise there is no point, right? Why you are executing the code, piece of code? Because you want to see the output, otherwise you won't be able to see the output, any kind of output. So if you want to execute this class at all, then you have to put that piece of code in this main function. So I can check this box. If I don't check this box, then I will be I have to write it manually. So I'm just, it's easier for you guys. So just make sure you check this box because you want to write something and execute it too. That's a whole funda. So it will be like public static void means string args. So I'll explain what this means in a bit. And you can generate comments or not, that's up to you. So if I generate comments, it will nicely put a comment, what is this class about and what you are going to do with it. You can add it. Okay, then finish it. Now it's going to create welcome.java. Okay, so even though it says class, it will create a Java file. Like I said, this is where you're going to put your code. Okay, okay, let's change the author author to Sangam. So this is the comments. Okay, I'll explain from the top what are the different sections of a typical Java class. All right, this is the typical Java class anywhere. So you can make some customizations or enhancements, but basically this is how it will look like. Okay, so these are the class level comments. Okay, so top level you can add anything, and this means commented line. Whatever you put inside this slash star and star slash will not be executed because it will be non-executable and called comments. Okay, so let me write something like this program is the first Java program to print welcome message to the console. Okay, that's, I'm just saying what this is going to be. I mean, what is the main purpose of this program? Okay, just declaring it. And you can also toggle it, collapse it or expand it. So now second part is package declaration. So you have to declare where this class resides in or which package this class belongs to. So obviously the welcome.java belongs to tests class. So it's obviously visible here. So you have to declare the package explicitly. So this is called package declaration. Okay. So just for your understanding, I'm going to write some comments. Okay. This is not needed once you get used to it, but just for the beginning. Okay. So I think it won't let me, but I can write it here. Okay, so that's what it is. It's not going to let me. So what I'm going to do is, oh, it can let me, but it is actually in this collapsed. Okay, so this is package declaration. So if the package declaration is not automatically added, you have to add it. And whatever you see in this burgundy color or red color, whatever, those are the keywords. That means you cannot use these words again. Package is reserved. If I say package, it's going to throw error because package is already reserved. So the color coding is important here, and you can easily identify what this means. These are all keywords, the burgundy color means. Okay, so package is test, and every statement in Java should be ended with a semicolon. Okay, that's a rule. So just make a note of it, or I can make a note of it here. Some basic notes. Okay, so I will explain about this also later because I wanted to show you the simple program first and then come back to the theory, practicals followed by theory. Okay, just a note here, or notes. First note is every statement in Java must be ended with a semicolon. Okay, semicolon is this. Okay, we will keep on adding as required. And you can add some class level comments more about author and updated. So there are annotations, like you can add those annotations just to give idea to others who are looking at it or whatever, that this is created by you. Okay, updated by, or if there is no annotation, you can add them. So let's see what are the annotations. So if you just @ and control space is a auto fill up. So since, okay, or versioning, you can add all of these. So I am creating today, right? So this is since today. So you can also program it. It would not take today's class, but that's not required right now. So I'm going to add it manually. So 2019, okay. You can add bunch of them, and this is also commented. That means this is not going to be executed. It's just bulk commented. This is single line comment, double slash, and this is bulk line comment. Okay, and that is followed by the class declaration. Okay, so the public class welcome. So public, like I said before, if I make public, that means I can access the members of this class from outside this class also. If I create more classes, I will be able to access them, but those should be in the same project. If it is outside project, I will not be able to access them. So that public means I'll be able to access these whatever members I am going to create here. If I make private, then whatever members I am going to create inside, you will not be able to access. And this is also public, so it automatically throws errors. See, illegal modifier for the class welcome. Okay, so then remove the invalid modifiers is a suggestion. You can go for it and it will automatically take as public. So by default it is public. If you mention it or not, it's public. So I am going to mention it so that you can see it. Okay, so public, class, and class name, that is the syntax, and followed by this flower bracket. So flower bracket indicates the block, and this class block starting from here and ends here. So this is the end. So everything is inside this flower brackets. That means the whole class should be embedded inside these flower brackets. Okay, now I can add more comments here, but if I don't want, I can remove it because I checked the comments checkbox before, right? That's why it added. So you can uncheck it next time. Okay, so like I said, you can create some variables, declarations, and everything here. Okay, so right now we are not going to do that, and we are just going to add some line here. Okay, so like I said, if you want to execute any piece of code, then you must put it inside the main function, and that will read as public static void main string args. So public means obviously it should be public because you want to be able to access it from outside the classes too. Static because you want to create a static one area of this thing, memory location in the JVM. So don't worry about this. We are going to learn more about static and non-static, but just remember that the main function has to be static. I mean, other functions, the custom functions, may be static or may not be static. And there will be return type also. Every function has a return type, and if it is not having return type, it should be void. That means this function is not going to return anything. I'll explain about this later because it's first program, that's fine. And every function has some arguments too, or may not have arguments too. And this main function must have arguments of type string array. Okay, that means I can pass one or more arguments runtime. Okay, if you don't want to pass any runtime arguments, that's fine, you can leave it. So then we are going to add something to the main function. Okay, the primary purpose of this is to just print some welcome message, right? So way to print the welcome message, I want to print that welcome message to the console. So this is the console, and if I execute something, the output will be written here so that you can immediately see what's the output of your program. So let's write something very simple. Okay, and that would be system dot out dot println. Okay, so system is a class, and I just want to print out a line, new line, and something. Okay, so these are all the functions I want to access. Now I'm accessing a println which takes a string argument. So see, string argument, so it's asking me to enter something. Okay, don't worry about this, we'll learn more theoretically. Now I want to print welcome to Java practice session. Okay, now every every string must be embedded inside the double quotes. So just remember for now. Okay, once you get used to it, you won't have to. Okay, so now we have written the code, and first and foremost thing we have to check is, are there any errors? Okay, how do we check? If there are any errors, it will show right here in red color. Okay, so for example, every line must be ended with a semicolon, right? And if I miss a semicolon, let's see what happens. Immediately it will show the red color, and just hover over it and it shows insert a semicolon. So now you know you have to insert a semicolon. Just insert it. Okay, let's make another mistake. Like I said, every string must be embedded in a double quote. Let's miss a starting double quote. Immediately there is a red color. Now you can read about this. String literal is not properly closed by double quote. Then you know immediately double quote is, I mean, you would insert a double quote. So like that, immediately you will see these errors, and these errors are called compilation errors. Okay. So if you syntactical errors or whatever, okay, and there will be other errors too, which are going to appear during runtime. That means when I run them, you are going to see those errors here, like exceptions or whatever. Those are called runtime errors. So there will be compilation time errors and there will be runtime errors. Okay, so compilation time errors you will be able to see at the time of compilation or before. Okay, like syntactical errors. And runtime errors mostly will be visible here when we run. Okay, so how do you execute this program? Simple program. Now there is a play button here, run button, right? Or you can also right click on this and run as Java application. Now there is other option also, run configurations. Don't worry about it. This will be used when you want to pass the runtime arguments. Like for example, if I want to run this in a particular environment, so that's not required. Just not make let's not make it complicated. So other way of running a class is right click on the class itself and same thing, run as Java application. Okay. Okay, so now let's run from here just by this button. Okay, but be alarmed that if there are more classes, it will run the last class. Okay, so then you will be able to choose from here. These are the history. I ran this alert class last time, so just be careful about that. Now if I run, okay, so let's just make sure we are running a proper class. So I'll just right click and run as in Java application. That's easier because it is going to run my current program. Okay, now it is going to run. Okay, so now we see something in the console, and this is called the output. Okay, and output is whatever I have written in system.println, and that is going to be printed to the console. That's very simple. And is it being printed? Yes. Okay, it's actually being printed. That means there are no runtime errors. It's compiled and executed. It executes the .class file, not Java file. So Java file is converted into .class file, and .class file is executed, and it provided us with the output. So that is the culmination of the program. First program. You can modify it according to your needs, or you can enhance it, you can add more classes. That's all later. But first of all, this is the basic structure of any Java class. Now if I want to modify it, say let's say welcome to Java practice session. Let's not use a session, Java practice class. Okay, that's a modification. Every time you modify anything logical or just textual, you just save it. Otherwise it will run the previous session. Okay, if you run it, it will run and provide this output. So just to avoid that, you save it, Control S or Control Shift S, and then run that again. Now it actually updated the .class file. How did it do? It actually compiled the latest Java file into .class file, and it run the latest class file. Okay, so and that latest class file has this updated version, and that is the output, updated output. Okay, now this is how you have to create new classes. You can create more classes, you can create more packages. Okay, now let's come back to the brief theory part. Okay, because we directly jump to the practical part, and that will actually give you a heads up, little bit idea how we are going to see what things we are going to expect. Okay, now in Java the structure looks like this. Like I said, source code.java will be compiled, and .class will be bytecode, and it will execute JVM. In the JVM it will execute this .class file, and you will be able to see the runtime output as what that we have seen in the console. not necessarily in console. The output will be in any form. This is the basic appearance of output in console, because you will be able to see it visually immediately. And so like I said, Java is a collection of classes and objects primarily. So you create more classes and it will create more objects. We haven't created objects yet, but we will. Okay. So class, what is a class? Class is just like a template. This is just like a template. You fill it with whatever you want to do. We just fill it with whatever you want to print. So it's a template. You can modify according to your needs. And what is an object? Object is a replica of a class. Now this class is just like one, and I want to create instances of this class, one or many, one or two or three, and those instances are called objects. Okay, so the more the objects you create, the more the space it's going to occupy in the Java virtual machine, JVM. So you have to be careful about how many objects you want to create. Okay, so we are also writing some notes. We already had 2 notes. Okay, we also said, what is the other note? Just remind me. Every string must be embedded in side double quotes. Right. Okay, so we are going to update these notes as and when we need to. Okay, so just now we have seen a basic structure of any Java class. Okay, same thing I put it in notes. Okay, first of all it will have Java package declaration, and before this it will have import statements here, because we do not have import statements because we don't need to use them. There is no, but going forward we are going to import from where? Import from these Java system libraries are third-party jars. So if I want to use some mathematical functions, right, so I need to go for the this thing java.io, java.math or something. If I want to use some input output related functions, right, then I have to import the java.io. Dot star means all the sub packages will be imported. If you don't mention, like if I want to do something with the SQL database, then I'll be importing java.sql. Okay, so that's the end, only SQL. If I mention dot star, io dot whatever is later, io dot file dot whatever, all the packages, sub packages will be imported. So you need to be careful. The more you import, the more slower you are going to run. So it will slow down your programming running. Okay, so we have already seen access modifiers. So these are the access modifiers, right? Public. There will be others too, private and protected. Like I said, public means you will be able to access this class members any from inside or outside the class. Private means only inside the class. Protected means outside the class with some conditions. So those conditions will be provided by developer or automation developer. And static and final. So we are going to know about these later because it's too premature right now. And also we have learned about some function pack. Okay, so this is a main function, and this function has 2 constraints here. One is a return type, which is void, and other is a arguments. Okay, so these are the arguments. So there will be 4 types of functions based on this. So the one which accepts arguments and returns value. How would it look like? Example: public int some function and integer is string b. So this is some function name and its return type is integer. Int is the integer, so don't worry. Int is short form for integer. We will learn more about this. And it is accepting 2 arguments. Okay, on the left side return type, on the right side argument or arguments list. Okay, there will be only one return type, but there can be many arguments. So every argument type is separated by comma. Okay, so integer a and string b are the 2 arguments. Okay, now other type of function is the one which does not return a value but accepts arguments. So it would look like this exactly. So if it is not returning anything, its return type is void, just like this. The main function's return type is void. Void means it's not returning anything. Return type of main is void, right? and it's accepting something. So integer a, string b, or whatever. So it has something you want to give it to. That means it is accepting something. Third type is does not accept arguments but returns a value. Okay, it's other way around. So if you look at this sum function, it is returning some string but it is not accepting an argument. It's empty. Okay, it's totally empty. That means there is no this thing, just empty brackets. Fourth type is obviously which does not accept anything, does not return anything. So it will look like this: void, some function, and nothing inside. Okay, so these are the four different types of methods. Okay, now variables are also of different types. Okay, some of which importantly are integer, double, long, string, character, boolean, string, array, so on and so forth. Okay. Okay, so we will know about these things in a moment. So just hold on to that. Now, if you want to operate something like this, like you want to do some math with your variables, then we have to know what those variables are, what those operations are. So basic operations are divided into four types, not including but not limited to. And those are arithmetic operators. Basic arithmetic operators are plus, minus, multiplication, divided by, and this is the modulo operator, which will return me residue when something is divided by something. And assignment operators: equal, plus, equal, minus, equal, multiplication, equal, division, plus, modulo, equal. And relation operators are not equal to, this is not equal to, oh sorry, this is less than, and greater than, less than, or equal to. This is used for the comparison. Something is less than or less than or equal to, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to is this symbol actually, exclamation. And equals is for the equal. And if you want to combine two logics, two comparisons, and those will be called logical operators. And means and the pipe means or. Okay, so we will know about this more in detail. Okay, now in the welcome.java, I am going to create some variables, let's say. Okay, so integer x, let's create one double y and one string z. Okay, so three variables. So what I just did was I just declared three variables. This is called variable declaration. Okay, and why we are declaring variables? Because we want to assign some values to them and calculate the some of the things and use them primarily. So that is the main point. So these variables will be used and will be used to what? Used for assigning something to them. Okay, based on my requirement. Okay, based on any requirement. Let's say the requirement is just like your test case requirement. Okay, user ID password has 3 characters, 3 to 30 characters, so and so. So just remember that is a requirement. I want to automate that. So in order to use that, I want to create variables for those objects, and those variables types are depending upon the requirement again, and I can name them any manner. So these are just like indications, but you have to name them appropriately, more readability wise. These are not readable XYZ, could be anything, but for now it's okay. Okay, so I just declared a variable. So int is a variable type and x is a variable name. Okay, so if I want to assign a value to this, just use the equal sign. And integer means in real world it's anything from 0 or minus side, 0 plus side. Okay, those are the integers. Integers are the numbers which do not have fractional part, right? Now I want to assign some integer to it. So okay, tell me any integer from math.
1, 0.
1, that means 10. 1 0, 1 or 0 or 10.
Yeah.
You're saying 10, right? Or you can say 10, not 1 0. Okay, now this line means the variable x will hold integer 10. Okay, so this means that. Okay, now let's say we have some fractional part too. Now if you want to assign a fractional part, you have to declare that variable as double. Okay, if I want to assign a fractional part and I declare the variable as integer, let's say 10.5, it won't allow me, it will throw the error. So let's see what the error is. The error, how do you know? You just hover over this red under dotted line or this line, doesn't matter. So if you hover over it, it says type mismatch. Okay, because you declared x as integer and you're asking it to hold a fractional part. So that's not good. Now if you want to assign a fractional part, you declare that variable as double. Okay, so now let's assign 2.4. Okay, now that is acceptable. Okay, now let's assign a string variable to z, string value. Okay, tell me any string.
Hello.
Hello is a string. Okay, now let's see if it is correct or is it throwing some error. Is it throwing some error? And
Yes.
what is the mistake? Why it is throwing double quotes, right? String variable must be embedded in double quotes.
Yeah.
So that's what it says. It might not say exactly hello cannot be resolved to a variable. It's very vague, but you have to understand that string variable must be embedded in double quotes. So immediately you do that. Okay. Okay, so now we will use these variables. The main reason we have declared them and assigned them some values is to use them in our programming. Okay, now what I want to print is something like the addition of x and y, and then I will say hello. Yes, go on.
Okay, the integer could be start with 0 2.
Yeah, it could be 0. Yeah, anything,
Okay.
any integer.
Any number.
It could be 0, or
Okay.
it could be -1. Oh, I'll give you the introduction later. So this is the practical. Once I do the practical, I'll be jumping to the theory. It's other way around. Instead of coming from theory to practical, it will be easier for you. That's why I'm showing the code first. -1. So what is the integers? This is all math. Okay, I'll just write down the comment here just for you. What are the integers? Integers are -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, -0, 1, 2, 3, blah blah blah, right? All the rest of it. All these are integers. I mean, it could be infinite on the left side, it could be infinite on the left side, okay? But not real. Integers are infinite. But the integer variable in Java cannot hold all these values. There is a limitation. Okay, so let's know about this limitation right now. So an integer capacity is 32 bits. Okay, what is a bit? Everybody knows a bit. What is a bit first? Bit is either 0 or 1. That's a bit in binary language. Correct. What is it? What is a decimal system? Everybody knows. What is a decimal? This is a basic, right? Decimal means 10. So right now we are using a 10 base number system, right? 10. Everything is 1 2 3 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Then it stops. Then you add the numbers 10 plus 1 11, so on and so forth. 0 to 9, those are the basic numbers, right? Everything is repetition of this. 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, right? Then 10 is actually 9 plus 1, so we are repeating these numbers. It's actually 10 base system, the one we are using. What is a hexadecimal? Hexadecimal will have 12 A, B, and then all this, right? Likewise, the binary system will have two numbers only, 0 and 1, and this is what is used in electronics. Correct. Electronics and computers will use this system, 0 and 1 only. 0 means off, 1 means on, right? Like just like switch on off. That's how it is. If you take any chip, that's how it is. Any electronic chip, right? Now bit is 0 and 1, and a byte, what is a byte? Byte is combination of 8 bits. Okay, so everything is measured as files capacity, files size is measured bytes, right? It's a combination of bytes, but primarily it is bytes, which is in turn basically it's in bits, and 8 bits constitute a byte. Okay, and a byte range is from -128 to +127. Okay, that means if you declare any byte, you will be able to assign any value from -128 to +127 only. If you assign any value beyond this range, it will throw error. Okay, let's see that immediately so that you will understand. Okay, byte is a variable type, correct? So let's call this B. Okay, now I want to assign some value. What is the range of it? You need to know. What is the range of a byte? -128 to +127. Okay, so tell me any byte range, valid one. Tell me any value.
126.
Okay, let's see 126 is valid or not. So immediately you will say, because there is no error, 126 is valid. Why? Because it lies in the range of 126, -127 to -128 to +127, because there is a 0 inside. That's why one is less on the right side, positive side. Okay, and if you do not assign any value, there is some value by default assigned to this, and which is 0 by default. If you do not assign any value, it means it's 0. How would I know? If I print this B to the console, it will print 0. That's how I would know. Okay, let's do that. How can I print something to the console? I just did, right? Like this, system.println. Okay, let's do that for the same thing for byte also, so that you will know. So the shortcut for system.println, when you actually install Eclipse and practice next class, this is what you have to do. sysout control space. It will automatically autofill it for me. So that's a shortcut. So let me write it down for you, so that you would know. I mean, once you start coding, you can use this shortcuts. Okay, so these are nodes and shortcuts, everything same. So sysout is the shortcut for system.out.println. Println or print, same thing. Println is just it takes a new line character. Okay, so just to autofill, what you have to do, you have to press control. Autofill, auto complete, that's what we call. So it will auto complete. I'll show you more auto complete commands later. Okay, so now what we are trying to do here, we want to try to print B value, right? So let's try to print B value. Okay, instead of printing, I'll just elaborate it. So B equals, so that you know what value we are printing, and I have to append, use the concatenation character plus every time if I am adding two different variable types. Okay, what are those? B is equal to, this whole thing is a string. All right, now what I want to do, I want to add some variable. Okay, now it is complaining initialize the variable. Okay, actually this is the problem. Let's initialize the variable. Okay, when I initialize the variable, it took 0. Okay, that means its default value is 0. So the 0 is a default value. Okay, now let's see, actually add 125. Oh, battery level is down. Okay, do we have the charger? 127. Let's add. Okay, and let's run it and see. Okay, B is equal to 127. That is fine. Okay, now you tell me any value which is not valid for a byte, which is out of range. So obviously, if I take like 200, okay, so that is out of range. So it shows type mismatch because what? Because it's exceeding the range. That fundamentally is wrong here. Okay. Now we'll go to the another data type, short. There is another data type SHA-2, and its capacity is exactly double the size of byte.
A question. When I'm writing sys.println for finding the bytes value, so if I write in a bracket sys.println bracket only b, if I write only b, will it be printed on the console?
Of course, yes. That the main reason, like you're saying this one, right?
You also yeah. I want to like this, yeah.
Yes, of course. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it will print 127. Now why didn't I do this? Because if I just print 127, you don't know what is this 127 for, right? So that's why what I did was I explicitly put what is the variable name and what is its value. Okay, so this will be explicit so that you would know, or whoever is looking at your code,
You're giving
they would know.
value of b, okay.
Correct. Yeah, that is for the you are explaining it. You just print 127, nobody knows what is this 127. So you have to explain further.
Putting the variable name, right?
This is a variable name b. Oh, you can write anything.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is a
Mentioning
concatenation operator. Okay, you will know more about this. Don't worry. We are going to use this a lot. So okay, now let's go to the short. Short is a variable type whose capacity is exactly double the size, 8 multiplied by 2, 16 bits, and its range is this much, minus 32,000 something to plus 30,000. Okay, so anywhere in this range you can assign a value. So just we are not going to use short a lot, but just for your learning purpose I will create one. Let's say short s equals to, I can assign this value. Okay, I cannot assign this value because it's out of range. Okay, because it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 digits and I have to stick to this 5 digits only, right? Now that's an invalid value. So when you assign an invalid value, you are not going to execute at all because you are not going to compile at all. This is a compile time error. So obviously you have to correct it before even running it. Okay, so if you get at least one error, you cannot run it. So obviously you have to look at that piece of line which is throwing error. Now let's see this. This is obviously the correct value because it's lying in this range. Okay, so now let's add this to system.out.println. So right now we are just printing to console. Okay, that is a very basic Java code. So going forward we'll do a little bit. So short, let's use byte. Okay, instead of b, let's use short is equal to yes. Okay, now let's save. Every time I'm saving, see this symbol has to be disabled. That means you are saving it. Now run it, and short is so and so. And if you want to assign minus value, that is also acceptable because it's both negative and positive. Okay, next integer. Integer is exactly double the size of short, 32 bits. The range for integer is 2 billion to the both sides of the minus and plus 0. So plus or minus 2 billion. Okay, default value is 0. If you don't assign any value, it will take 0. Okay, now x is equal to minus 1. So you can assign any value minus 2 billion. I'll just say b. B means billion. Okay, 2 plus 2 billion. Okay, so that's the whole range. So let's say I want to assign to, this is acceptable or not? Anybody?
No.
No, because it's actually exceeding the billion. Billion has 9 zeros exactly. So let's decrease it to get it right. Now it is acceptable. See, now 2 followed by 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so that is actually less than 2 billion. It's actually 233. I don't know how much it is. Anybody knows what this number is?
Wait, what is he saying? Like
233, 23 million. Yes, 23.34 million. That's the number. This is 23 million. So if let's take the max number and just add it so that you will understand. 1 2 3